is going on out there? How are you guys doing? This is a wonderful Sunday. The Screen Time Continuum is right back here at you, coming in with House of the Dragons. No, I'm not going to say the acronym out loud. You guys already know what they're calling it in the internets. Episode 2 coming right at you. Screen Time Continuum. My name is Keelan, and you already know it's me and Nick. What's going on, Nick? How you doing, brother?
Hey, happy Sunday, man. Happy Hot D Sunday. How you doing?
He did it.
I
He
did
did
it.
it first, guys. I didn't break the mold. Nick did it first.
Yep.
I'm doing great, man. It is definitely hot. I am gonna save the D, and yeah, I can honestly say the temperature of the county we live in, at least, right? The temperature of the day is suitable for this particular episode. But before we get too deep into the episode or any information about episode 2 of House of the Dragon, aka Hot D, let's go ahead and introduce. We have somebody here for you guys. Somebody I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy hanging out with just as much as we enjoy hanging out and talking with him. We like to call him our good friend, Big Mike. What's going on, Big Mike? Bringing him on in. Hey, look at that cute little dog you put on the screen.
What's going on? That's Pepper.
Peppa!
Thanks for
What's
joining
going
us,
on?
man. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. I'm ready to talk about something outside of Hot D, though.
No
Yes,
luck.
Mike. I'm gonna say, Mike, we understand. We don't really care for the Hot D acronym either. However, the internets are infallible. They
Oh, it's
are.
hilarious.
Say it again.
It's hilarious.
Oh, it's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, hilarious. The problem for me is just the internet never loses. I need the internet to lose this particular battle.
It has spoken.
Good luck.
The internet is
Good.
definitely spoken. But with that being said, we are gonna jump into episode 2 of House of the Dragons. Mike is here because Mike, in my opinion at least, I'm not sure how Nick feels. I have Nick share his opinion on this, and I'll even have Mike share his opinion on this. But Mike is kind of like one of those people when it comes to the Game of Thrones series that if he had to before it went downhill, he absolutely would have got a tattoo of one of the houses. And then things went to hell. And
Wait, what?
a tattoo shirt, a tattoo. You would have definitely been branded with one of those house names. I can't validate which one. I will let you do that on your own if you chose to. But
Nah, I'd rather be the Hound.
oh,
There you go.
That's even better. That's actually
Unaffiliated.
much cooler. Yeah, because at that point you just bounce around and make your money, mercenaries all day.
That's it.
With that
Freedom.
being said, right. With that being said, Mike, what is your take, a brief take on episode 1 before we jump into episode 2?
Let's give our spoiler warning first.
Oh, that's right.
This is an after show episode, so
correct. We are a directly after show episode currently on Sundays for House of the Dragon. So if you have not made your way over to HBO Max, if you don't have HBO currently showing on your cable services and you have not seen episode 2, or heck, maybe you haven't seen episode 1, but you're not familiar with the House of the Dragon up until the end of episode 2, please pause, hit that save button on this video, come right back here and see what we have to say after you have digested the original material. If you don't care about spoilers, stick around. We got plenty to say. And for those who have seen it, please drop some of your opinions, some of your comments and your feelings in the comment box, because we're here for the Hot D. I can't believe I said that out loud. It sucks because you want to just ride the wave that is.
pause.
I don't ride
You
nothing.
don't want to watch. Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing to
what
yourself?
am I doing? You know what? House of the Dragon. I'm never calling it Hot D again. Just this is terrible.
Just say the whole thing. Yeah.
That hole is too deep.
Yikes.
Pun
Sorry
intended.
about that.
So,
That's all right.
Mike, what is your
Yep.
opinion, or what are your first thoughts on, your thoughts on episode 1, and then you can kind of give us some brief into your. We'll let you start off episode 2 as well.
Well, to be fair, I really wasn't gonna watch any of it. I really wasn't. I wasn't gonna engage in any more Game of Thrones activities. But then I saw you guys' review and I had to. I felt compelled because at least I would have somebody to talk about it with if I watch it and fall in that rabbit hole.
Right.
So with that being said, I watched it today. I watched episode 1 and 2 today. The first episode was just a really long episode of the obvious,
Hmm.
and you guys stated that in the original review. It was like, man, all of that just to say that she's going to be the heir apparent.
Yes.
Okay, you could have knocked that out in the first like 10 minutes.
Could have.
Definitely was an intro and not an entire episode. But hey, and I like that you say that, Mike, because and I'm just gonna say this about episode 2, and then I'll let you continue what you were saying. This episode proves exactly what we were saying in episode 1. These shits damn near don't even correlate. But I'm gonna stop there. Go ahead, Mike.
To be fair, I mean, it was Game of Thrones all over again, in all of Game of Thrones glory, all the unnecessary nudity that I used to enjoy as a younger man. Now it's just like, what's the point of it?
Put that stuff away.
You're right.
Have some dignity.
Right. That's the old man in me, like, young floozies. Look at this. And then that part though where they cut the dude's dick off, it was like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Is this gonna and to be fair, the first thing I thought, is this gonna be some feminist demasculating kind of empower women kind of thing? Is that what we're gonna see? And then it's kind of like, yeah, kind of. It's like, all right. But I guess I'm here for the ride though. I got my boys with me.
Absolutely.
Episode 2. I don't know, man. She basically is trying to show that she's a strong female who is equal to every man in the court and on the small council, and her opinions matter, and the decorum that's already been set precedent. We got to chuck that all out the window. So I don't know. I'd be I find it hard to even keep my attention on the screen sometimes. Maybe that could be just me, because it's like I tend to not even. I really don't even pay attention to the stories anymore. I'm starting to focus on what I think I'm seeing behind the scenes so much that I get lost in the thoughts. Trying to find those deeper meanings, like what they trying to tell us in society.
Right. Yeah, I think that there's I think there's a difficulty with that being tainted in a lot of things that we tend to watch. I do have to agree with you, man. I did find myself in this episode feeling a little bit antsy. I don't feel like it picked up until maybe like the 30-minute mark, and then it kind of got boring again. And then it picked up for like a few minutes at the end. But yeah, I did find myself feeling like a little bit like, all right, is something going to happen? We're going to get something. And I don't need, like Mike said, I don't need the nudity, or I don't even really need that much fighting all the time. But I don't know. There's still something missing for me. I don't know what it is yet. I'm not sure.
I still find it hard to believe that I even feel that way. I mean, all those beautiful body parts.
Well,
I can honestly say,
I'm just not interested in seeing them anymore as much.
Well, they're
it
not
doesn't make
promoting
sense.
the story. Yeah, it's not promoting the story. Yeah. There have been plenty of movies, or TV shows all around where we can say like, oh, okay, I understand why the nudity was necessary, or it didn't really push or pull. A lot of the times recently in television specifically, it's like the nudity is a part of the contractual clause. They just have to get it out of the way.
Really? And I felt like they did that in the first episode, because they didn't have any nudity in this episode.
None.
So
none, and it wasn't necessary. Yeah. It wasn't necessary in the first episode either.
Right.
But I'll definitely say, as I'm looking at this episode and what you both just said about the kind of the split of excitement, this episode made me think. I forgot when it was. I want to say it was maybe around the moment of the king walking through the courtyard with Princess Lyanna. right?
Oh, I forgot about that weird part.
It's all right. Well, trust me,
We
we
will
got
address
oh,
that.
we will fucking address that. But around then is when I started thinking this show can almost be, I keep almost calling it a movie. But it can almost be broken down like remember the old Adult Swim shows, Aqua
Like
Teen
10
Hunger
minutes.
Force and all of those. Yeah,
Okay.
12-minute, 15-minute clips of hey, that was nice, that was interesting, I like where this is going, and then you cut it. And you leave us teetering on the end, but at least we still want to know what's going on. And this, you get those moments, and then you get the next moment. And sometimes the next moment almost wasn't. It didn't even. I don't want to say it didn't make sense because that would insinuate that I believe that every single scene is going to make sense from jump to jump, and that's not the case. But in this particular
Isn't it supposed to?
no, because every scene's not going to tie directly to one another. It might tie to a few scenes behind because of the story arcs being split. But what I
Okay, we can
mean,
put it that way.
right. But in this particular episode, I just started thinking they're going to leave a lot of open-ended arcs. There's just certain things that either they're not going to be able to cover or they don't care to cover, or it's going to be similar to what we've already experienced where you have so many dominoes that need to fall, you're gonna knock them all down in one episode. It's not gonna make sense. Yeah, I feel like that's what this episode is doing, or did. Episode 2, it started building a table that can literally just be overcrowded, and there's no room to maneuver.
Do you guys feel like this looks like a soap opera sometimes?
Yes.
Always.
Yeah. Okay,
I
it's
thought that
not
in
just
Game of
me then.
Thrones.
Well, Game of Thrones, I didn't feel that as much in Game of Thrones. This one definitely feels like more like a soap opera. Everything's very brightly lit, and I think that might be it. I do want to say the establishing shot of King's Landing, that CGI was worse than my Xbox's CGI for any game I've been playing. It was awful. Go back and look at it. It's like I think it's at the 2-minute mark or something like that.
For episode 2?
Yeah, it's just an establishing shot over King's Landing where you see all the buildings and stuff. Like the CGI is awful in that just in that scene for some weird reason. I don't know why, but yeah.
Hopefully it's not going to be consistent. But I remember in episode 1 we had a couple of comments as far as CGI usage. Maybe they're cutting corners to save a little bit of dollar.
Yeah, so I think, like, I don't know about you guys, but there were certain elements of this episode that stood out to me, and I'll see what you guys think about it. First of all, I think we get more of the sort of like what's about to happen, which is we're seeing sort of like the start of a Targaryen civil war between Corlys and his wife Rhaenyra. Is it Rhaenyra? I think it's Rhaenyra.
Yeah, Rhaenyra. You're right.
I've never been good with the names.
Yeah, right. And then obviously with Viserys and Rhaenyra, and that's illustrated through the proposed marriage and stuff. But I also we get introduced to this sort of bad guy as the crab feeder. I think that was the most compelling thing for me, but it also felt like the least like Game of Thrones.
Right. It no, well,
here we go. We got
I think I do understand.
Hey man, good to see you.
What up, Fias?
Yeah, Fias says, hello guys. Did you like today's episode? That remains to be seen. We'll find out.
I think we're still digesting whether or not we like it, but we definitely watched it. So stick around with us and let's see where we're
all going.
Sir. Let's see. So yeah, as far as it being not so much Game of Thrones, I don't know. That whole thing to me with the crab eaters, it reminded me of the Iron Islands.
That's what I kept thinking.
Like the origin of the Iron Islands, though, because it seems as if certain things haven't quite come into fruition. I would think the Iron Islands would be one of them. The wall seems to be less of a punishment in these days and more of just a retreat.
It was mentioned briefly.
It was mentioned briefly, but only really as far as punishing Daemon. But before that, it was more of a rites of passage, or it seemed in the discussion, or the one discussion it was, I think in episode 1, or did it, or maybe no, I'm sorry, it wasn't the wall he was coming back from. Damon had originally come back from the Red Keep, right?
I don't know. Probably no. I mean, he was in King's Landing at the Red Keep, but I mean, he went to Dragonstone. He was supposed to go to Runestone, which
Right.
is, I guess, another stronghold for the Targaryens.
Right. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but I know when he first arrived and when he had surprised Rhaenyra and he was sitting on the Iron Throne wherever he had come from originally. But I believe it was either the Wall or the Red Keep. But I remember in Game of Thrones it seemed more of a punishment, and in this one it seems more of a rites of passage, like something you have to do to become this, I guess, this commander of sorts. You know, to in the same vein of which Rhaenyra wanted the guy who she chose to be the new member of the Knights Guard, the same way she wanted him to be battle tested. It's like one of those things. Like, you
Right.
have to go and make it through this level of experience before you can assume the position that the king has appointed you to. So
Who are we talking about?
we're talking about Damon, and at the beginning
Oh.
when he comes back. So when we get, and what I'm doing is I'm tying together certain things in House of the Dragon seem like precursor to the things we know of in Game of Thrones. So again, the whole, what were they called? The crab
Well, Crab Feeder is the guy.
feeders. Thank you.
Mhm.
The whole crab feeders. It seems like the origin of the Iron Islands.
I think it's probably similar,
Like
but
some foreshadowing.
yeah, but I think it's also, I don't think that I mean, they may not be related to anybody in the Iron Islands, because there are other islands and stuff. So, and it said they were part of the Free Cities, so I think that that's like the Bravosi, right? So you would have all of like the Bravos side of Essos. Yeah, I'm not really sure where this all plays out, but what is a good distinction to make is that this is 6 months after the last episode.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And it looks
Right.
like next episode is going to be a time jump of like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3, maybe 4. In fact,
Yeah.
you have to get through pregnancy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the baby looks like he's about 2 or 3 years old. So yeah.
Yeah.
And for those who have seen the episode and maybe don't exactly understand what we're talking about when we're already mentioning a baby in a time jump, right after the credits in the episode, we usually get some level of a behind the scenes to the next episode. If you were not familiar with that, definitely stick around and or fast forward when you watch the next episode, and you'll get some insight into next week's episode. But yeah, so I picked that up as well, Nick, that it seems like we'll be doing a lot of time jumping, which gives me the thoughts that we're only going to get one season out of this, because if they're going to be jumping time like this, and maybe they only do it in the first few episodes to get us to a point where they're telling a solid story.
No,
But
it's
if not,
most of the stories told when Rhaenyra is like in her 20s, late 20s, so they're gonna have to jump to that pretty
they have
quickly.
to jump at least 2 times. Yeah. So
Mhm.
let's see. If we do next episode 3 years, she's only going to be about 18.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe at least 1 or 2 more time jumps after that. But yeah, that's, I'm thinking they have to get through 200 years, so they're gonna have to change up some time. And Rhaenyra is not going to be alive for 200 years, so
You don't know her life.
You don't know her life.
Don't
right.
judge her.
The dragon fire keeps them alive longer. Correct.
Yeah. Did you guys have any favorite scenes in this one? Anything that stood out to you?
My favorite scene's kind of midway through. I would say I was very much likened to the scene where Rhaenyra flies up on her dragon and squashes the beef between her uncle and the Hand, which I want to have a nice little talk about the Hand. He's shit and I don't like him.
Yeah, he's definitely got some Rasputin vibes, some Littlefinger vibes going on.
Definitely a Littlefinger type. I think you had mentioned that the first episode too, that he gave off Rasputin vibes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But so yeah, we're 6 months in, everything is crazy. I appreciate Corlys is still my favorite character. He is my favorite character. He and Rhaenyra right now, they're fighting for my interest. It just is what it is. I appreciated Corlys bursting in with the angst of understanding, hey, listen, you may not care, but my house is gonna get toppled if we don't handle this situation over here.
Mm-hmm.
And if my house
Yeah.
is toppled, that shows weakness within the kingdom. So what we gonna do?
Yeah, and he's already jockeying for position because everybody's looking at Viserys as a weak bloodline, and
Oh yeah, he's food.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
So
definitely.
everybody's trying to make their moves, and I think Viserys is kind of stupid for not. I mean, like I know why he doesn't make the move that he's supposed to make, but yeah, I think
We'll talk about that because
he
I
made
don't
it
really
much worse.
listen. As a businessman of sorts, or at least I fancy calling myself one. It's 2022. We could do that. Uh, I think that was just not a smart move, man. Listen, nope, not saying that out loud, but
Nope. Nope.
but yeah, no, it's a terrible.
Well, let's just
It's all
dig into
terrible.
this. This is very
No,
uncomfortable because most of the characters are underage girls in this.
Right.
So yeah, let's just unsheath the steel. Ill.
No.
Let's take the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
Ill.
Why?
Let's just put it all out there on the table. We're settling with that one.
All right.
So phrasing. This episode just goes back to all the Game of Thrones. If you stuck around for our original reviews of the original, what was it, 9 seasons, 10 hours we did, however many hours we did, covering Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, you got to knock it the fuck off. Yes, it's back. Yes, it's back. Knock it the fuck off. Knock it off.
Because that's how you know you're in the Middle Ages, is if you're courting 12-year-olds, apparently.
Yeah,
because there are no 20-year-old maidens from highborn families that you could just marry off. I mean, like,
yeah, I guess they all get married off at 14 and 13. Like, oop, nope, not gonna say that out loud. Man, I'm gonna offend so many people today.
Hey, facts don't care about their feelings.
They don't, and that's what makes it so funny. Because to me, sometimes it's like I don't even know how people get offended by this. It's the honest to God. Like these are the facts, but you know what? I'm not up for reference to others today.
Well, facts in people's feelings. When you burst somebody's bubble, they can't always readily accept that new information.
Right. Not trying to re-landscape anybody's mindscape today.
Right.
But for sure, with the exchange of the ages of the potential wives of the future or the current king to birth a future king, I think a few things have to be addressed. One, for once, we have a king who seems to actually care about the fact that he is being forced to marry underage girls. And then I considered he's not the guy we think he is, if that's what we think's going on. No. His options are a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. He cannot bed the 12-year-old until she is 14. So of course he's going to choose the 15-year-old because he wants a son now.
Right.
So for anybody who had any inclination when they saw this episode, oh yeah, you like how I prefaced that, like, oh, he's a good guy. No,
certainly not.
That's not what's going on here. He simply understands that 2 years is too long, and he'll probably be dead within that 2 years. That's all that.
You're right. No, that's exactly right.
Dead right. Absolutely.
He basically chose the death of his kingdom because of it. On top of that, because
literally made the wrong decision.
Oh my God, the worst decision you could have made. I mean, listen, my opinion, 2022 opinion.
Well, you know what? This doesn't
all the wrong decision.
You know why it really doesn't even make a whole lot of sense, because he said he was satisfied with having Rhaenyra as his heir. So if your main objective isn't about producing a male heir, then you could have waited. You could have, waited even 6 years, maybe. I know that sounds risque, but
Yeah. 6 whole years till she's 21. What?
Yeah, no, till she's 18. Dude.
You're talking about the 12-year-old. Okay, so
yeah, Corlys's daughter, because that's Corlys's daughter.
He actually chose.
What kind of a parent is that?
A parent that wants power, man.
I might say a power hungry one.
Man.
Now I have to be honest. Corlys is the one that makes the most sense. I don't mean the decision.
I get all of that, but still.
Like I'm sure if he had more goats, if his goats were more valuable than his daughter, I'm sure he'd give his goats up instead.
Yikes.
I'm just saying.
Poor goats.
Poor goats. Hey, whatever. But so I think when you consider everything that's on the table, because this discussion we're having right now is what this entire episode is about. It's all about legacy. Actually, this entire series is about legacy. It's about the birth of Rhaenyra's power and the growth of her reign, I guess. Clearly,
And
she's
also
not
the
going to be.
growth of the Targaryen civil war.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a bit civil war between the Targaryen families. Yeah.
Which also makes sense to what we know later as how do you go from being the most powerful entity in the world to being reduced to orphans?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and literally what 200 years would be what 3 generations, 4 generations?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's not long. So we consider a lot of these things. That's what we're viewing in this particular episode. And again, this series is really just going to keep giving us, in my opinion, a whirlwind of these type of battles. The discussion between Daemon and Rhaenyra, the discussion between Rhaenyra and her father, the hiding and the nastiness of her father. Like, bro, you could have told your daughter you were about to marry her best friend.
Right. That was weird.
It's weird to begin
Yes.
with. And the other weird part is the illusion, not illusion, but the illusion that Rhaenyra and Alicent were more than just friends, because that was all over episode 1. It's like episode 2 came around and we're like, oh wait, no, that's not what we were trying to do. Yes, it is. It's
no,
very
yeah, they
obvious
show
what
it too.
we're trying to
Yeah, well, that's why Rhaenyra is upset at the end. It's not because her
believe so.
dad is marrying her friend. It's because she's in love with Alicent.
I think so as well, and I think
Yeah.
that's going to have to come out once they're adults, and you know things are dire. I loved you. Wait, what are we talking about now? Why is this even a conversation?
How'd y'all feel about it riding on the coattails of the original theme song too, by the way? I thought they should have
Trash.
changed that up.
Yeah.
When they use the
that
original
was
theme,
for the nostalgia factor.
it's for the normies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I can't pretend like I wasn't like
They could have kept the theme. They could have just changed it a little bit, like made it specific for this show. But it's just the exact same theme.
Right, remix it a little bit. If you play 50 Cent in the club right now, you're gonna start. You're gonna do it.
Yeah,
it's just, you can't help it. So that's why to me it's trash, because it is literally just harping on the nostalgia. Throw a couple of extra chords in there. It's a beautifully composed song, but you could definitely give us something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because of the level of popularity and cult following of this show, and it's particularly that theme, you could have gotten anybody to make you a new version.
Yeah.
Just saying. And I mean, I know I could be reaching, but that's what I'm here to do. Reach a little bit, throw my opinion around,
For sure.
So why do you guys, I mean, like who decides that they're gonna go face a dragon riding prince without a dragon?
Somebody with big cojones and a whole lot of stupidity in their brain.
A whole lot of stupidity. Like I saw that when they were walking up through Dragonstone. Of course, it's that long bridge,
right?
And I'm like, well, first, that's strategically awful. You're just walking down a shooting range. But then he didn't even bring a dragon rider.
Nope.
You knew Daemon had a dragon.
Because for whatever reason, Otto believes that he is the king.
Yeah. Maybe
he 1000% believes he holds the power of the king. He holds the trust of the king, so he's as untouchable as a king. I have nothing else to add to that. That's literally the issue with Otto. That's why he would risk so many of the warriors. That's why he would. Hell, that's why. Listen, he was very much so aware that if he had just let the king go, it would have got solved with no bloodshed. It would have been a couple of high-tempered words, and that would have been it. Two brothers talking shit to each other. But
he can't control the situation,
right?
And he's a control freak.
Yeah. So he went to incite a riot. He might have told the guys to chief their still, but he was definitely about to try to violate that dude in some way.
I kind of got the impression that it was more like they got a long-standing history of the prince getting on his, just poking the bear all the time. And when he got the opportunity, he let me go arrest this mother sucker.
Right? Yeah.
Let me come kick in the door, waving the 4-4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely hate each other, so it does make sense that he would want to be the one to try to do that. I just think it's dumb when you know the dude has a dragon.
Man.
I don't think he thought that part through.
I
Because
mean,
it's like,
apparently,
because it was like, I'm gonna go up here, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna smash on the prince, and he ain't gonna use no dragons. Really?
right? Yeah, exactly.
Really?
You know what he was doing? He was trying to win favor.
With who?
You think there might be a longer play there?
Yeah, no, he was trying to win favor with the king. Look, I'm willing to put my life on the line and go and argue with your nut job brother. It's like, bro, yeah, the same thing. Corliss, the actual guy who's familiar with war and all that kind of shit. Could send him.
Can we talk about like, well, okay, the egg was given up very easily by Damon for somebody who he just wanted somebody to come and say hi to him.
He's hurt, bro.
He's just lonely.
I think he actually loves his niece.
He
he does. Yes.
I think legitimately though, and I think everybody's afraid of him. And I think she's even a little bit afraid of him.
Oh no, they love each other more than just familially.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll go as far.
Oh man, I don't like the foreshadowing y'all put on that.
Hey, listen, episode 4. Just wait for episode 4.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. They make this stuff too easy to see. The Allison thing was very obvious by the last 20 minutes of episode 1. You saw that coming. And the beginning of this, from the moment Corliss made his proposal, you knew he wasn't going to take it, and you knew that was going to spiral.
Yeah, that's true. It's not doing a very good job about keeping its twists hidden for long enough for it to mean anything to you. Because I think they could have made that decision a little bit later, maybe in the next episode or something like that. But
you could let it.
What's up with the random French patois accent that Damon's chick has? She sounded like she was trying to be Jamaican or something.
Right. I think they're trying to give her the same backstory as
the Littlefinger's chick.
Rob Stark's chick.
No, not her either.
Oh, Shay.
Tyrion's chick.
Yeah. Maybe.
That's what I was thinking of too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're trying to give them a similar backstory, and that's something I actually did like. That reminds me of the Tyrion storyline and even the Jaime storyline, where you realize that Corliss and Daemon share in being the brother of a king. That's a very powerful story arc to have for anybody in these kind of stories, because those are typically the champions at the end of everything. They're either the champions or they're the main insider of the right.
Yeah, they're the second sons, so it's you don't inherit the kingdom. You have to just go, do something with yourself. Yeah,
you got to take what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes. I'm gonna keep saying it because that's what makes him one of my favorite characters. Now, I will say, I think it's ironic that he's a black guy. So, most people are going to be like, oh, of course the black guy will be his favorite character. Oh.
Well, he wasn't black in the books, so.
That's the part that it's like, hey, listen, if he's the same person, I'm just talking about the character in general.
There you
but
go. Yeah.
The guy who plays him does a great job.
I want to see him in action, and where I think we're going to see that soon, where he's actually shown as like a naval commander, because that's what he is.
Yeah. That's what it sounded like. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's definitely like one of the most renowned sailors and naval commanders. So it'll be cool to see like a ship battle with him.
I think he also though will go down. The question is when.
I don't want to ruin it for you, buddy. If you haven't figured it out by now, everybody in the show is going to be dead by the end of this season.
Hey, what was I saying to you earlier, Keelan?
Don't get attached. That's
don't
it.
Get attached.
That's the name of the game here. You do not get attached. I get it. I'm just wondering. At this point, my question is: in what order do they die?
Put it this way: when
anybody get shot on a shitter?
When major book nerds of Game of Thrones and George R.R. Martin called this particular book nihilistic,
oh wow,
that's when you got to know that it's probably, unless they change the ending, it's probably not going to be a happy ending.
Well, shit.
the dragon go crazy and like, okay, let's not do this.
We won't, like you
I
can
expect
find the
it.
plot points if you want to, but
Right.
anybody who
But-
knows the books knows that this isn't a happy ending.
Right. Hey, but anybody who watches Screen Time Continuum knows I have no problem sitting here and doing their job for them.
That's fair.
Speak on it.
But yeah, so this episode again, we've pretty much touched on retracting, rewind. We have pretty much covered everything topically for this particular episode. Again, we're 6 months beyond where we were in episode 1. Rhaenyra has been appointed. She has plenty of ideas, a lot of good ideas. Some of them were actually used. Or we see in the preview that one of her ideas will be used. Oh, so you mean we could have actually saved people's lives if we listened to the heir apparent?
Yeah, I like that she's competent. I like
Yes.
that she's competent, and she knows how to. Huh?
Sorry.
What'd you say?
Plot armor.
Oh, well, plot armor, maybe a little bit because she's like the main character, but I also think that she handles herself a little bit better than most of the other characters we've seen. Like if you look at Daenerys throughout Game of Thrones, she's really annoying. I like
eye candy. Remember,
Well, I like Rhaenyra in that the way she talked to like Rhaenyra, like when Rhaenyra was talking to her and they were having that moment together, like she owned her. Like,
and Rhaenyra was trying to be like the Lady of the Veil in that moment when she was talking to
Cersei,
not Arya,
or Sansa.
Was it Cersei or Sansa? It might have been both because she had moments with both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, in those moments of sage wisdom, but at the same time, like, just know I got your number, little bitch.
Right.
Yeah, there was none of that in this. And if anything, Rhaenyra kind of put Rhaenyra in her place. Like, remind her, like, you're the queen that never were. They swore fealty to me. Yeah. Like, I can literally have all of those men's heads chopped off just for not abiding by their word on that alone.
And I like that she sticks to her standards too, because the whole conversation surrounding like her father getting remarried and then her being replaced as the heir, and her response is, "He's the king. That's what he's supposed to do." Yep. Like I do like that she kind of applies that standard. Like when she was appointed heir, it was because it was the king's will. If she gets taken off the heir, it's because of the king's will. She's already explained in the first episode that she'd rather just fly around the world on her dragon anyway. So I don't know if she's 100%. Right. Yeah. I don't know if she's 100% married to ruling the Seven Kingdoms.
You think she's like the Amelia Earhart of dragons?
Yeah. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, let's see. Any other? I mean, like there is a lot of slow points in this one where I don't know. I'm still not connecting enough with the characters for me to care when they're talking to each other at a very slow pace and just staring at each other quietly.
Right. A lot of this episode to me, the hot points really. So Rhaenyra, it was giving her opinion in the High Council, being kind of ignored. Then of course we turn around later and see how valuable she is. With Corlys, it was the illusion of him actually being listened to and being considered, only to turn around and realize like they don't respect you because you're her husband. And even though he has the fleet he has, the respect comes from the mass, not just the one. Like the king respects him, but the hand doesn't, and he trusts the hand more than he trusts himself because he thinks, he's built these relationships.
So do you guys think that there's like any deeper reason as to why he didn't follow the plan and marry the Valyrian girl? I mean, aside from the fact that she's way too young to marry, because it just seems to me like, why would you? I guess that show is saying that he loves the 15-year-old girl.
I think he developed some kind of a relationship with her over the 6 months. And it's not just he's a creepy old weirdo who's going to perv on a 15-year-old. At least that's what they're trying to set up for us to believe. Like he's not this creepy, weird Joe Biden type. Oops, I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have said that.
Censored.
But yeah, they definitely try to allude to, not because she's even the friend of his daughter, but just she watched her father lose a wife. But that even lends weird connotations to it as well.
Right.
Because that her solution for making her father feel better wasn't proposing herself as a wife.
No, she just listens to her father. Like she's just a little tool for her father, and she knows that she's just got to do whatever she
What
has to
that
do.
says, yeah.
Which,
And
which it makes me even wonder. It's like, okay, so does Allison even like the king?
no,
Right.
I
She
I
doesn't
think she
seem
has.
like she does that much.
No, I think she honestly shares the same thing that we're thinking Rhaenyra shares for her. And that's why I'm thinking when time goes, say like her brother's around 10, and then they're gonna have that discussion. Her and
Hmm.
Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
wouldn't want to have that discussion.
I wouldn't either, but I think Alicent is gonna have to, and it's gonna piss Rhaenyra off, and she's probably gonna try to kill her.
There's definitely going to be a beef between the two. That's for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
You can already see it
I could
brewing.
see a couple of arrows flying past the lady Alicent said. Also, I remember looking through the cast listing, and they do list her as Lady Alicent, not Queen Alicent. Um, so that states something.
It's like, I mean, she is highborn still.
She is
Mhm.
a highborn, but I think that states like think of Cersei, right? Cersei was considered the queen, but she was never considered. Excuse me, she was considered your
Queen
grace.
Regent.
Queen Regent, thank you. That's the word.
Mhm.
She's considered Queen Regent, but she never was like your grace. She never had like definitive power. It was always
Well, until she killed off all of her kids.
yes, that's
Shame,
that's a whole different conversation.
shame.
But yeah, it wasn't until things got basically thin, basically, so shit was like on the brinks where it's like, oh well, I guess now she's the actual queen.
Mhm.
I think there's a bit of that in this that's gonna come up where okay, you're here, you're gonna give birth to a boy, and once you give birth to that boy, now you're just a part of this. You don't really matter.
Who, Alicent?
Yes, Allison.
Nah, she's going to continue to be a pawn for her father. Her father's got big
For her,
aspirations. We don't know
for
what
her
they are
father,
yet.
but I mean for the king. I mean for his
Uh,
interest in her is only a child.
I don't know. It seems like they, like he likes her enough. I mean, inappropriately enough. Again, are there no 20-year-old highborn women in King's
Haven't
Landing?
haven't seen one
Yeah, but
college age girl
they
walking
was
around.
hanging out with they was hanging out with the king's brother though.
That's
That's
right, the
true.
stud. Yeah,
And they
that's true.
consider all of them whores and harlots. I guess after
Right.
15, if you're not married, something's wrong. I guess. And
Doing it
All
big
right.
Kate style.
Jesus.
by 2021, they all become town floozies and work in the brothel.
Yeah, I guess, right? Yeah, it's either that. But yeah, so I mean, it's a dumb decision. Obviously, it's going to create a big conflict. I think we're going to see. I think the team up between Damon and Corlys is going to
That's
be
gonna be great.
interesting.
Yeah. That might be my
I'd
favorite.
love to see a battle scene with both of them. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I was gonna say that might be my favorite episode when they both go out into the battlefield.
What you think of the prince's fighting abilities?
Which one, Damon?
Yeah,
I don't think he's built to be out in the battlefield like that. I think he's a turning fighter.
Yeah, probably. He hasn't proven anything. It's not like he's Braun, He hasn't
Right.
proven that he's especially shrewd at killing people. He just proved that he's brutal,
Right.
I didn't even give him that much. The tourney battle, because when he got beat, he got
got his
smacked
ass
around at the tournament. It's because he got arrogant, and turned his back on his opponent, trying
Mhm.
to bask in the adulation of the crowd,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's a stupid mistake.
Yeah, and he's probably got the world nerfed around him because he's a prince,
Right.
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 You see, old boy didn't like everybody else was getting killed. Old boy was like, he what was it?
I thought that was a bit much too. It's a
Yeah,
tournament,
you don't kill people at tournaments.
No,
right?
but everybody
It's
else
not
was
a
getting
thing.
killed. But
I
everybody else was
mean,
getting killed.
it happens, but it's taboo. You're not supposed to
Yes.
try to kill.
Yes.
Well, no,
If you
and that
kill
was what
somebody
they
at a
said.
tournament, you're kicked out.
Well, no, remember they said that it had been so long since they had bloodshed of that nature that they were just allowing it.
Yeah, because
Yes.
they hadn't been at a war. That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah. I guess that's the justification for it.
So it was like Coliseum style sport,
Pretty much.
Murdered who?
right?
Yeah, but that's why that was the explanation they gave for that in episode 1.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah.
ballsy move to mace the prince in the back of the head.
Right.
Like while
At least
he's
he
not.
survived.
Yeah.
Hey, that in some places, some universes, that's treason enough.
Right.
Yeah.
That's off with the head.
You
Just want to
imagine
let
if
him
that
live.
was Joffrey he did that to?
Oh man. Oh man. After he
Joffrey would have
finished
had him
crying.
right.
Would've been
Joffrey would have had him chopped up into bits in front of the crowd.
Right.
Yep.
For
He probably
sure.
would have did some weird. Never mind.
Yeah. But this entire episode is, like I said, it's broken down into just different little pieces, little stories that kind of are interesting in pockets, but it definitely makes you question some of the future things that are going to happen. I can't say there was one like champion moment in the beginning of Game of Thrones, especially. Man, it felt like every episode you had a champion moment. It was somebody who was like, "Yo, I can't believe this is where we're going with this." I haven't done that once
Not
yet.
yet,
In what now we're at about 2.5 hours of material. I'm not exactly sure where this is going. I am interested, but dragons aren't going to be enough.
No, dragons certainly aren't enough. And there is certain decent elements to the story that I'm starting to see shine through a little bit. That I'm like, oh, all right, interesting. All right, I'd like to follow that thread, please.
Right.
But there definitely has to be a change in their direction. They're set. I'm like they're not. There's not going to be. But I thought the dragon stone scene looked terrible. I
It
don't
was
know,
too
the
foggy.
fog with the sun and everything was hazy, and it's just like Dragonstone was just a real location that they shot at. Why didn't you just shoot at that place?
And they definitely did that on a stage somewhere.
Yeah.
Or it looked like it at least. What was interesting to me about that scene was I don't know if they were trying to make it now again, remembering that we see we know Dragonstone 200 years later.
Mhm.
So maybe it's us not
Supposed to
realizing
look a little
that.
bit nicer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still cleaner, more pristine, fresher. But then it's also attributing to, dare I say it, global warming. Um,
Dun, dun,
because
dun.
they're so high into the mountains apparently for Dragonstone. Like Dragonstone is supposed to be way
No,
up
it's on
there
an
somewhere.
island. No, it's just an island.
Oh, it's just an island? I thought it was
Yeah.
supposed to be a mountain.
No, it's just an island. I mean, it has a mountain on it. Yeah. I mean, it has
Because-
that's where the castle sits at the top of
Yeah,
the
at the top of the
mountain.
mountain.
Yeah.
But you understand, yeah, okay,
Mhm.
maybe
Yeah, I mean, like, well, Game of Thrones was certainly an allegory for climate change. Even George R. R. Martin says so. But I don't know if they were going for that for this. I just
An
thought it was
allegory for what?
climate
climate
change.
Oh,
The White Walkers, they're coming.
the
Nature,
melting of the wall.
yeah,
Or
the
I-
children of the earth, children of the
No.
forest. I mean, yeah,
I've heard this theory, yeah.
yeah, oh
And
yeah.
then I didn't know that he
George
was attached
admits
to
it.
it, but I heard
Yeah. Mhm.
so it's a woke story.
Well, yeah, they tricked you.
that. Like, aren't they all? It was his glasses. That's what made you think he would never, right?
Yeah.
You know, now that all make sense now because it starts off this great idea, and then the
they trick you.
unintended consequences at the end. It's like, well, hell,
Right.
I could have did without all of this.
Yep.
That's funny.
But I will challenge you guys to go just on YouTube and look at some clips of Game of Thrones just to look at the differences between the way that's shot versus this. Because this reminds me of a soap opera. Everything is so bright and just like almost has like a gloss to it and a blur to it. Like it's all just way too crisp. There's so many shots in Game of Thrones where, yeah, there are dark moments, and trust me, The Long Night was the worst shot thing in the world. But there's a lot more grit to the cinematography. I just feel like we're watching a Days of Our Lives sometimes. Like when Corlys, I like Corlys as a character, but when he bursts into the small council like that, first of all, that's not a Game of Thrones thing you do. That was a Days of Our Lives thing. Like that was
dramatic.
He bursts in and he's like, whatever he says.
I definitely thought they were gonna run up on him with the steel.
I think like a little wind blew in his hair too.
That's funny. That's funny.
Man,
You said Days of Our Lives. No, I think that was Nope, I forgot the name of it, but the one where magic is used. Whatever.
Oh, Once Upon a Time.
Is that the name of it? I guess.
Man, I don't know.
It's too many of those things, those good soap operas. But what I was gonna say is referencing. I would have liked if they were gonna take this whole, like you're saying, Nick. I do see the same soap opera kind of feel. Run with the novella style. It's something about the way that novellas have been shot over the years. Like it's been perfected. Throw a twin in there. Throw a misunderstanding, a fake
An
death.
evil twin.
Yeah,
Dramatic pauses.
yeah, those things like a couple of fourth wall eye breaks. No talking past the fourth wall, but just look into the camera,
Right.
and then let it go. At least then there's some comedy to it. There's some interest to it, and we're not thinking that we have to take things episodically serious.
That's actually a very substantial critique that I've heard so far, is that there's no brevity in this show yet. And you think about Game of Thrones, you had Tyrion all from the get-go as sort of like the comic relief. And that was necessary in a show where, you know, people are getting tossed out of windows. Serious. Everything is messed up. Yeah. This show doesn't have any comedic bits to it or anything that's really light to it. Everything's very dour, very serious.
Well, I mean, so serious that the titles, I meant to mention this at the top. This show has been taken so serious in the offices that they forgot to name episode 2.
Oh, it's called the Second Prince or something like that.
It's called episode 2 on HBO Max.
Oh yeah, it is. I know.
On Google, yes. On Google, yes.
You know why they do that? They won't release it. They won't release the title until tomorrow, probably, because they don't want people to spoil. They don't want to spoil it, because usually the titles tell you something about what's going on in the episode.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They did that when Game of Thrones was running live. They wouldn't name the episode. They would just play it, and then you would see the title after.
Wow. And what, it's been like 12, 14 years now? I never caught that until today.
Yeah.
Just did that. Yeah.
I was today years old when I learned that.
Today years old. But overall, this particular episode, in my opinion, so yeah, let's kind of try to wrap this one up. Start moving towards some final thoughts and some opinions, little things. So I understand the decision he made from a storyline stance, not from a common sense or it makes sense stance. Like, oh, if we want this story to make sense, but from a storyline stance, if he marries Corlys' daughter, there is much less splintering of a storyline and many less avenues to.
There'd be no action.
Yeah. However, by shooting down Corlys, and going with Alicent, shooting down Corlys and going with Alicent as his future wife or his new wife. I think so many different avenues open up. We kind of get back to that thing I was saying at the beginning. We might end up with a couple of dominoes that are just clustered and we have to knock them all over at one time. But there is a lot of opportunity here. Like a lot of opportunity. Now, of course, some of those opportunities, and it will continue to be alluded to until either Corlys is killed or he probably won't be killed this entire series, honestly. Because, hey, you know, Black Twitter get a hold of that, and I'm playing.
They got to rewrite the whole story just so that they don't get canceled by Black Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Don't eat that shit up. I'm going to have fun reading that. But if he goes that route, we literally only end up with. I don't see this going past 6 episodes.
Well, it's 10 episodes apparently.
Yeah, but that's because he doesn't go with Corlys' proposal. I'm saying if he goes with Corlys' proposal.
Oh, yeah, right. Of course, yeah, of course.
And that's
because there won't be any strife. There won't be any problems.
Correct. So. And it will, in my opinion, it would go. Episode 3 would be the next 2 years till she turns 14, and then episode 4. And then episode 4,
Black Twitter goes crazy.
Going crazy. Oh, that's how he gonna do it? Thomas Jefferson. Never. So then you add 2 years to that, then you have the argument of, you know, the juxtaposition of making that happen. That's episode 4, and then episode 5 is, you know, where we are, episode 3 with Alicent already having the child.
Yeah.
So I understand from a storyline stance why they had to go that way. I'm not gonna say I disliked this episode. I liked this episode, but I liked it for reasons that inspired me to be more creative, not for reasons that made this a better series.
Yeah, I think this episode for me is actually this, like, and thank goodness it only took 2 episodes, but it's finally giving me something that kind of gives me like interesting. I want to see Corliss and Damon and their alliance. I want to see what the heck this crab feeder dude's all about. I'd like to see sort of the dynamic between Rhaenyra and Alicent, because I think that could be pretty interesting, especially since I think they added the fact that Rhaenyra is attracted to Alicent to the show.
Perhaps.
I don't think that's in the book, or it's left ambiguous in the book. It's left very ambiguous.
Can I add to that?
Hmm.
I'm not gonna say for the first time, but for the first time in a while, I'm actually interested in a relationship status between two characters.
Same, yeah. I think that's fair, because normally I don't give a crap about about relationships.
I don't care.
Yeah, but I think that this dynamic is being set up pretty interestingly, because like the resentment Rhaenyra is going to feel against Alicent and vice versa.
Is that guaranteed resentment though?
Oh yeah, it's unrequited love, man. I mean, that's what they're kind of displaying, right? It's like Rhaenyra is not going to be happy because like she loves Alicent.
Yeah, she's marrying her dad, bro.
Yeah.
It's not like she's her
I
best friend.
didn't pick up on the love thing between the two of them in the way that y'all did, but then again,
they're hinting at it because it wasn't explicit in the book, so they're trying to be a little creative about it.
And it could be turned into not necessarily some sexual love thing, but there's a real love and passion between best friends. Period. Yeah. These are people who were raised together.
Well, if we're talking pure, then yeah, that I can dig that.
I do
think that's just way too much of that underage girl on girl, boy on boy stuff going on right now when it comes to TV and media.
Agreed.
And I don't think we just need that anymore.
Agreed.
It's too much.
Yeah, I don't need to see Rhaenyra and her uncle having weird vibes with each other. I mean, it's so funny. At least they I mean, like, not at least. I shouldn't even say that. I'm not even going to say that. All I will say is that in Game of Thrones, Maisie Williams didn't get sexualized until she was 18.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, apparently all of the, because, I have to know, all of the 15-year-old actors are 20 plus in real life.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Which is always,
but in the story, she was also 18 in the story, I think.
Well, so what I was gonna say is, so for them to go from her being 15 in this one, and then to her friend marrying her dad and having a child, the child looking like 2-3-ish in the previews for the next episode, they should be around 18 in episode 3.
Right.
And
that's why you're saying episode 4.
You understand what's going on here, man. I'm just looking at it for what it is. They tell us the story in so many ways. The story has to be written out in its entirety, beginning, middle, end, and then it's broken down into episodes. So some things are going to be foreshadowing. You're going to kind of be like, oh shit, I see what's going on here, or I see what can happen here. And I think that's where we're going to have more of our come on, knock it the fuck off moments. But hey, until then, right now it looks like, again, we will have a pretty decent series. I don't think it's going to be trash. But I don't think it's going to be seasons 2 or 3 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's going to be like some season 7 shit.
Maybe.
Yikes.
All right. Yikes. Yeah.
Season 7 was decent. It wasn't absolute garbage.
Wasn't it though?
It was pretty bad. I think season 6 was the last season that got out pretty clear.
Right.
Was it 6 and not 7? Okay, 6 is what I'm saying. The last good one is what I'm saying. That it's giving me those vibes. Like it's gonna
because 6 had Battle of the Bastards in it. I think that's a pretty solid show.
That was dope.
Yeah, for sure. And it had the bells with Cersei blowing up the Sept.
Right. Yeah, that was excellent. Mm-hmm. That's probably one of my favorite scenes.
Good. Yeah,
Battle of the Bastards was dope. That's kind of, and to be fair, that's who Damon kept reminding me of.
Who? Ramsay?
The other, yeah.
Yeah, he speaks like him. Yeah, he talks exactly like Ramsay.
I was sitting here thinking, like, is that the same dude with a gang of makeup on?
Right. I
'Cause
guess
I was
they're
like,
just from the same area of England.
man, because his voice sounds just like him. And I'm
Yep.
looking at his face and I'm like, it could be him with some prosthetics on.
With
And I'm
smaller
like, but
cheekbones.
ugh.
Oh man, come on.
And I think that that's what we're missing right now. We're missing a demented character. And I think that
Where's the
that's
ultra sinister? You're right. There's no
yes.
ultra
I
sinister.
thought Damon was that guy.
Hell
I
no.
thought he was supposed to fill that bill.
He's
Damon's
so
looking a
loving.
little weak.
Yeah,
little
he's
weak.
so loving and caring, bro. Are you kidding me? He's crying
Yeah.
for help.
Bro, he gave up the sauce to his, like as soon as his 15-year-old niece came and, shook her finger at him.
Bruh,
What?
he flipped that egg like it was a basketball. There was no care in the world, no animosity.
Well,
Fine, you're right, and just flips it to her. Like, come on, son. No.
but I mean, at the same time, it's not like we want to see uncle and niece fighting with dragons in the middle of the sky.
Why not?
He could have
Well,
slapped her.
I want to see
Well,
that,
no,
or I want to see them.
we
stare
want to
directly
see
in each
it,
other's
but I
eyes.
mean, if you were there, you don't want to see that,
That's true. The characters don't want that.
Fair.
right? They
That's
don't
'cause-
want to
that's
see
'cause
that.
they'll
We do.
They'll be the ones that's not on Dragonback getting burned alive by Dragonfire.
Hey, I would love to see Rhaenyra roasted over an open fire, just because. Just
so mean.
because.
If you have to choose right now, Rhaenyra or Daemon, who's getting roasted alive?
Rhaenyra.
Fair.
Nah,
Throws
I think
Because it throws
Damon's
everything
gonna
into
have a
turmoil.
worse
Throws
death.
everything into turmoil.
Yeah, maybe. She
Where
can't die
would
yet.
they go from there?
How about we just go Flame Burrow the King?
Okay, why not?
Yeah, he's gonna get tetanus soon. Oh, by the way, can somebody please put some sandpaper to that damn chair? Honestly, why in the
Something.
hell? You got
That
your
shit is-
freaking king cutting himself on rusty ass metal every time he sits down.
So what is up with the necrosis of the finger now? Because that's way worse than whatever bacteria eating thing we thought was going on with the back.
Well, it's not grayscale for sure.
Oh, that's
No.
definitely not grayscale.
It looks like it's gangrene just because he keeps getting nicked and infected, so he's just
Okay.
losing his
I could roll,
fingers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
necrosis of the finger. That could be.
I mean, those are all swords that were taken from other fallen kings and everything, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
those are probably rusted and dry blood and all
Yep.
kinds of other stuff on them.
And nobody decided to take a stone and just like blunt the edges of them.
Can you smooth the stuff around where you sit?
You would have thought that the dragons burning it to form it would have done that, but apparently not.
No.
Well, I mean, it could still leave some sharp edges
Yeah.
for slashes and not so much for poking and prodding, but you would think that, they would think ahead of that. But then again, if they don't know about viruses and bacteria,
Right. I must say, I don't think they were that advanced into the medicine. I think that's going to be funny if that somehow ends up in the story arc. Like, oh, yeah, so the king's been sick because of the dangers of the Iron Throne. And then we realize, I do think, when I think about it, the Iron Throne wasn't really used in Game of Thrones. It was there.
it wasn't as big either.
It wasn't as big. They took a lot of the swords away.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's probably why he got rabies.
Tetanus. Yeah.
Technically.
Same thing.
Metal rust
He
baby,
gonna,
bro.
I'm sorry, he gonna get lockjaw.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that actually is a real side effect.
Oh man.
So
Hey,
yeah,
where did he get the one on his back from? Did he lean up against something?
we assume
Sitting
that's
in the
what-
chair. Yeah.
Right. I know it's from the chair, but I just because I was looking at the throne and I didn't see where he would have nicked his back up, unless he was
It's
leaning up against
probably
the edges.
between like two of the
Regiment back.
blades. There was like a little, like a little gap between two of the blades, and he just got some back fat. That got pinched.
Like,
in there.
as a he's been scratching his back on that one blade. Ooh, too deep.
Sliced right
Man,
through.
it took a nice little chunk too.
Yeah.
Got some bacon off his back. That's what happened.
Man.
Right.
But yeah, so overall, again, the king, I'm not sure how many episodes he's gonna last. He's definitely gonna be dead by the end of this season. But the main stakes right now, how far is Corlys gonna go? What is Daemon gonna do to win favor? Because right now, Corlys is slapping that battery in his back to let him understand that if he gains enough favor, he can pretty much take the throne from his brother, which is really just Corlys being a conniving asshat and throwing the kingdom into chaos simply to save his own home which I do think the king will do what needs to be done to preserve the territories. But
It's really just because his wife
yeah,
got passed over.
yeah, of course. And I mean,
That's
hey,
really
listen,
all it comes down
as a
to.
as a married
Oh,
man,
Will
I
Smith.
understand. Keep my wife's name out your
Right.
I'm not gonna say the whole statement because I'm pretty sure, but they like to make money, so that might be trademark or
Yeah,
shit by
that's
now.
right. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And I wouldn't be mad. I would hope that's trademark shit. If it's not, I probably should shut up and go look into that. But
Man.
overall, I do believe that Corliss is angry and he's definitely taking it out, but rightfully so. When you think about what they were saying at the beginning, his wife had more claim to the throne than Viserys did, except for the fact that he's a guy. With that being said, I would not be mad if Daemon were to get 2 episodes as I'm saying it, good Team Dark or the Dark Ops. Thanks for tapping in. Team Daemon. Yes, exactly what I was about to say. If Daemon were to be king for an episode or 2 where we were to end up ending this season, at least this season, if we were to move past this season, with Daemon as the reigning king, I mean, at least it would seem more Game of Thrones-ish. It would kind of make sense as to how things get turned into the storylines that we know of later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see until next week. All I have to say is, Mike, will you join us?
Absolutely.
Awesome. thanks for joining us tonight, man. And we got one more here from Alex409.
Hey,
hello.
Alex.
What up,
Thanks
Alex?
for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Let's see. Daemon and Corliss will be besties. Yeah, absolutely. Probably. I mean, that's going to be a really good mashup. And he says they'll be like Batman and Robin. Yeah, I think so. It's going to be a lot of fun to go see them go after the crab feeder. I think that's going to be a really interesting storyline that'll be packed with action. So it'll be much needed because a lot of quiet moments in this show. Not that you need like crazy action scenes, but you do need a little bit of higher stakes. Yeah. And I think that Corliss and Daemon will kind of present those higher stakes to us in this show. So it's going to be good.
They seem to be our only risk takers so far.
Right.
Even Otto the Hand, he's not really a risk taker. He just takes advantage of the things that are laid out.
Yeah, he's more of a behind the scenes guy. Yeah.
Hey man,
Sure.
y'all being too harsh on Littlefinger.
I was just about to say, I will say I appreciate that he has Littlefinger vibes because Littlefinger was probably one of the main characters that had made things move in Game of Thrones.
Oh, I mean, he was responsible for almost everything in Game of Thrones, and then he got killed by 2 teenage girls. So
literally,
right.
And hey,
that's the tragedy.
Isn't that how it usually goes for those dark, sinister type of guys?
When you put it that way.
I mean, yeah. So, but yeah, let's see. As we're getting to the end of this,
got some more chats since we're wrapping up. I figured, will the House of the Dragon series, will it continue from Daemon to his son's story? I hope it will. Ooh. I know that they're doing generation jumps or time jumps, so I'm really not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. We're going to see the characters older, so we're definitely going to have an older Rhaenyra. Daemon will obviously have a son or a kid at some point too. So
we don't know. We hope.
Wait,
Daemon
she wasn't pregnant, was she?
She wasn't. No.
She wasn't. She said she didn't want to, but he has another wife too.
Yes, he has an actual wife. That's his mistress.
Right.
I do believe
that the king just do that.
One more time.
Why didn't the king just do that? He's the king.
Yeah, he could have been Robert about it
because
and just had concubines.
No, he didn't have to have he didn't have to go the route of a bastard. I mean, he could have just married his whatever for whatever and had Alicent on the side.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he's gonna be a pervert either way.
Right.
Agreed. But when I say a bastard can't be heir, he would have to marry a highborn.
Right.
Well, he could have. He's saying he could have married the Valyrian girl and then had Alicent as a side piece.
He could have married the baby.
I just feel so gross saying that.
Right. Hey man, it is what it is. I didn't create the universe or the characters or their ages. I'm just working with the play I was given.
Right. He's arguing why didn't Viserys become like a Robert Baratheon character who had side pieces all the time.
I get you. That threw me off. I was hoping maybe the
Right.
side piece could be legal age, maybe.
No,
Jesus
apparently not.
Christ.
Yeah.
Hey,
Alex
Dark Ops got it.
409. Oh yeah, I'm gonna bring that
Yep.
up. Alex 409 said next episode will have some good action. I hope so.
Yeah,
Certainly.
it should. I was actually going to touch on that next, and 1,000%,
The Alistair
1,000%.
Lannisters are incest ripoffs. And then he
The
goes,
OG
OG
incest
incest
fam
fam
is
is
the
the target. That's
Targaryen. I
true.
like
You're
that.
right.
Right.
You're right.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, lest we forget that it was Daenerys's brother that was pimping her out to call Drogo. So
I mean,
Admiring her body.
didn't she turn out to be banging out her cousin at the end of it all anyway?
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
her nephew.
Her nephew.
Right,
Yes.
nephew.
Not even her cousin, her nephew. Yeesh. And
So, I mean-
that's the risk of the bastards right there is that's why
Does
you can't
George
have a
R. R.
bastard.
Martin have to tell us something?
I think so.
Does he
got
got to
a
tell us
secret.
something? I don't know, man.
mean,
I don't know if there was as much incest in the Middle Ages as he thinks there was.
I don't even know how to tread with this thread right now. I feel like it's a whole nother episode to talk about. Yeesh. Yeah.
Yeesh. Anyways.
So with all of that though, for sure, I totally agree with Alex 409. The next episode is going to have some really
Oh,
great
is it?
action.
Well, no, I'm sorry, Alex 409. I don't know that it has to be that a multiple wife situation, more like a concubine situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, he's
Or
the king.
wife. But that lends to what I was saying is literally there has to be some level to the highborn because the bloodline has to be more pure. When you're so Jon Snow, this is the only thing that threw me off about Jon Snow. Jon Snow is the son of a whore and a king. But if that whore was not,
He's the son of Lyanna
sorry.
Stark.
Right.
Right. Come
right.
on, bro.
So I'm sorry, I went left.
Disrespect.
The theory was he was the son of a whore and a king, but
Yeah.
that turned out not to be the case, and they had to do this whole long line of succession realization to get there. That's not going to happen for every bastard. It's just
No.
not.
Well,
And so
yeah, we saw it in Game of Thrones, right? When Joffrey decides to kill all of the black-haired babies because he finds out that his dad had a whole bunch of bastards.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean when I'm like that's not as normal. Like that was kind of weaved into there just perfectly, but to try to do that again, I think would be foolish.
No, I get what Mike's saying. He's not arguing that he should do it. It's just saying that he was torn between the Valyrian girl or Alicent, and he could have had both and the best of both worlds. Technically, pause. I
mean, he's the king.
Not disclaiming, not my opinion. But he could have done it in a manner in which everybody benefits. He decides that.
This is Hollywood story, so I mean, all the little kid stuff. I mean, you know.
Well, now we're getting a little too spicy for YouTube. All right,
that's what I said. That's what I said. You know.
All right, let me go ahead and take this pizza out the oven.
Yep.
So no, definitely episode 2 again, enjoyable, sparked a lot of theory and thought. Definitely has us clearly excited to know what's coming next, but a little confused as to what could they add. I think that's a good place to be for as viewers, as consumers. We're not turned off, we're not pissed off, but at the exact same time, we're kind of wondering why, and why is always a good answer at the end of any story. Anything
right,
else?
one more from Dark OPZ here. He said, "Oh, sorry, no, that's Alex 409." He says, "Oh, he was looking at the much later timeline." Dark OPZ says, "Is the king sure it's his child? Because based in the trailer, Alicent's baby looks a little like Daemon." That's true. He does. He has very, very blonde hair.
I like that.
I mean, I know there could be some weird stuff going on. But yeah, we'll have to see next week. Mike is going to be joining us next Sunday as well. We're going to do some Game of Thrones Sunday after shows every Sunday night for you guys at 8:30. So please decide to join us again next week. We'd love to have you guys. Thank you to Alex 409 and Dark OPZ for commenting. We really appreciate you guys. And Keelan, why don't you take us out of here?
Oh yeah. No, definitely. Shout out to everybody who jumped into the comments, fellas, ladies, all of you guys. We appreciate you guys. We really do. Mike, thanks for hanging out. Of course, you'll be right back here with us. Hey, there he goes. The guy. Um, but definitely for everybody, thanks again. Episode 2, House of the Dragon. What was the name of the actual title? I know it's not episode 2 now that Nick has informed me of how this works. What was the name of the
Oh,
episode, Nick?
I think it was like the second prince or something.
Indeed.
I'll see if I can take a quick look. I think I still got it queued up.
Well, episode 2, name to be determined. We definitely appreciate you guys for checking in with us, tapping in. Come back.
The rogue prince.
The Rogue Prince is the name of this episode. And come on back over here Wednesdays and Sundays. Right now, Sundays until the end of this particular season and into the future seasons, if they were to give us any. We are doing House of the Dragon. That's right. Come get your hot D Sundays, 8:30 p.m. right here on Screen Time Continuum. Then you will head right on over on Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, you're going to check out If Numbers Could Talk. That's hosted by me, 8 p.m. Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, a couple of other places. We're getting there for you guys. Wednesdays again, right back here, checking us out, Screen Time Continuum. We don't have anything currently listed to notify you guys of. So guess what? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Check us out on Wednesday and find out what it is we'll be reviewing and giving you some topical discussion on then. Thursdays, also on Tuesdays as well. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, check out Strawberries and Coffee. That's over there on Twitch. Also on YouTube for a back catalog. DeJohn's always going to be playing games that you might have heard of, maybe you haven't heard of, maybe you've beaten 40 times yourself and you just want to see somebody else get through those stages. Check that out on Strawberries and Coffee and on Twitch. Fridays, you're gonna hop on over to the Exo Fathom. The Exo Fathom is currently available on Facebook, YouTube, Verbal, Rumble. Probably coming to you through some Bluetooth. If you check that out, just there's gonna be streaming that straight to your direct mind link. Or what? It's not called Bluetooth. It's called Neuralink.
Oh, wow.
Right? But hey, Neuralink kind of works like Bluetooth, pulls things out of just thin blue air. But yeah. Who knows, guys? We're trying to find out all ways to get this material out to you. I'm kind of joking about the Neuralink thing, but I'm kind of not because I have no clue what he could be adding to that. And for all I know, which I'm actually aware of, Exofathom kind of talks about Neuralink. Do you remember which episode that is?
Yeah, we have an AI episode out there. We also have a couple of mythological episodes where that touches on, transhumanism and Neuralink and things like that. So go check out our catalog. We got probably about 150 episoeds out there.
Yes.
Is that like if I was to self-identify as a T-Rex?
No. Trans. Yeah, that's trans dinoism.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
It exists. But definitely after you check out the Exofathom on Saturday Moments, check out Saturday Moments. Saturday mornings, you can check out This Merry Moment. This Merry Moment is coming to you on Saturdays between 10 a.m. and 12 noon. Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, trying to find some other things to get out there on that. And again, on Sundays, you'll be right back here with us. Again, Sundays until House of the Dragon ends. You can come right on over here after you watch episodes and get your hot D. Check it out. We appreciate you guys for the Screen Time Continuum. Thanks again, Mike, for hanging out with us.
Absolutely.
My name is Keith.
I'm Nick.
We appreciate you guys. Hey, he's here with us, man, and he understands the timing. Don't you guys see how this works?
That's right. It's synergy.
That's right. Later on, guys. We appreciate you.